This is the entire timeline of Raul Menendez, how he used tragedy and strategy to become the villain who reshaped the Call of Duty Black Ops universe. Early life in 1970s Nicaragua. Raul Menendez grew up in Nicaragua during the 1970s when the country was dealing with poverty, violence, and political chaos. A major earthquake in 1972 destroyed many homes, including his own. After that, his family had almost nothing left. As if losing your house to the earth itself was not enough, the country was also involved in a conflict connected to the United States, making daily life even more unstable. To survive, Raul and his father entered the drug trade. They did not join because they dreamed of becoming crime legends. They joined because regular jobs were not exactly easy to find in a collapsing country. Over time, they became very successful at it. They controlled a large part of the market and gained a lot of influence. This also meant they made enemies, which is something you tend to collect quickly when your job description includes the words drug and cartel. Raul's father was eventually killed during the conflict involving groups supported by the United States. That loss pushed Raul into deeper anger at a young age. The situation got worse when his sister Josefina was badly burned after an American businessman set fire to his own building to collect insurance money. The fire severely injured her, and Raul never forgot who caused it. Between the earthquake, the war, his father's death, and Josefina's injuries, Raul formed a clear and understandable opinion about the United States, and it was not a positive one. The raid and Josefina's death. Years after Josefina was burned in the insurance fire, another event pushed Menendez even further toward revenge. A United States operation teamed up with Noriega to raid his home. Frank Woods and Alex Mason were part of this mission. Their instructions were simple. Capture Menendez alive, do not kill him. In a perfect world, everyone would follow the plan, but this is not a perfect world. Woods entered the house already frustrated and angry. When he saw Menendez, he wanted to end the situation fast by killing him. His team quickly reminded him that orders were to take Menendez alive. Woods reacted by doing something that did not help anyone. He threw a grenade inside the house out of frustration. The grenade rolled into Josefina's room. It exploded, and she was killed instantly. This event confirmed everything Menendez believed about the United States. He connected the dots in a painful pattern. The Americans caused the insurance fire that disfigured Josefina. The Americans took actions in the conflict that killed his father, and now an American soldier had caused the explosion that killed Josefina for real. To Menendez, this was no longer about one accident or one mission. It was a complete lifetime of damage caused by the same country. From this point on, Menendez did not see the United States as just an enemy. He saw it as the source of all his suffering, and he decided the time for holding back was over. Disappearance and strategic rebuilding. After Josefina's death, Menendez disappeared from public view. Some governments thought he was unstable or hiding because of emotional damage. In reality, he was rebuilding his power in a very organized way. It turns out that going quiet was not a breakdown. It was a strategy. Menendez expanded into the illegal arms trade, which means he sold weapons to groups across the world. This business gave him money, influence, and a front row seat to how different governments behaved behind closed doors. He learned which nations were corrupt, which ones were weak, and which ones were one bad day away from collapsing. These are useful details when you are planning something major. He also built a large international network that helped him move weapons, information, and money without being detected. At the same time, he studied how technology and media were becoming the real tools of power. Menendez understood that in the modern world, controlling information could be more effective than controlling territory. This period changed him from someone reacting to tragedy into someone planning how to reshape systems. The emotional hurt was still there, but now he used it as fuel to build something much more dangerous. He was preparing not just for revenge, but for a global movement. Formation of Cordis Die. After building his worldwide network, Menendez shifted from selling weapons to spreading ideas. He recognized that millions of people around the world were angry at their governments for corruption, inequality, and terrible living conditions. Instead of building a traditional army with uniforms and marching, he created Cordis Die, which became a massive global movement fueled by public frustration. Cordis Die grew quickly because Menendez used media and online platforms to spread messages that claimed powerful nations, especially the United States, were exploiting weaker countries. His speeches spread fast and supporters shared them even faster. When people feel ignored, a message blaming the people in charge tends to travel at impressive speed. The movement had no official base and no clear chain of command. This made it extremely hard for governments to stop it. There was no leader to capture and no headquarters to raid. Cordis Die operated like an idea that had been released into the wild. Good luck catching that. Over time, Cordis Die gained billions of followers. To many people, Menendez looked like someone fighting for fairness. Behind the scenes, he was preparing to use this support to launch something far more destructive, but the movement became a tool that gave him more power than any cartel or army ever could. The Mason Incident. As Menendez gained power, he focused on hurting the people who had hurt him before. One of them was Alex Mason. the CIA operative who had shot him in the eye years earlier. Menendez did not forget that injury. Instead of attacking Mason directly, he created a situation designed to cause maximum emotional damage. During a mission, Woods and his team were told by Hudson that a captured and hooded figure was Menendez. Woods believed the information without questioning it. He took the shot, thinking he had finally eliminated his target. When the hood came off, he saw the truth. He had not shot Menendez. He had shot Alex Mason. This was exactly what Menendez wanted. He planned the scenario so Woods would think he killed his closest friend. It was a way to break the CIA from the inside by using their trust and loyalty against them. Menendez did not even need to fire a weapon. He let his enemies do the damage for him. Depending on the timeline, Mason either survives because the shot hits his leg or he dies from the wound. But the outcome for the CIA is the same. Menendez succeeds in creating chaos, guilt, and confusion among the people chasing him. Menendez kidnaps young David Mason. Right after manipulating Woods into shooting Alex Mason, Menendez moved on to the next part of his plan. He kidnapped Mason's young son David during the chaos. David was sedated and confused, which made it easy for Menendez to control the situation. Menendez brought David to the place where Alex Mason lay badly wounded. Menendez did not try to kill David. Instead, he delivered a message that would affect David for the rest of his life. He told David that he would not die. He would live and suffer, the same way Menendez had suffered his entire life.
Then and only then will you understand what you have done to me.
It was not the kind of motivational speech most children hear, but it accomplished exactly what Menendez wanted. By forcing David to witness his father in that condition, Menendez created a long-lasting emotional wound. He believed that making someone live with trauma was more powerful than ending their life.
You will suffer with me.
This moment shaped David's personality and the choices he would make as an adult. It also guaranteed that Menendez's influence would follow David far into the future. This event closes out the period of Menendez's personal revenge and sets the stage for his move into global strategy. Cordis Die expands into a global weapon. After targeting the Mason family, Menendez fully turned his attention to building Cordis Die into something far larger than an online protest movement. He used the growing frustration in many countries to strengthen his influence. People who felt ignored by their leaders saw Menendez as someone who spoke for them. Menendez used that support to push his message even harder, because nothing builds momentum like millions of angry people who already agree with you. He expanded Cordis Die through social networks and media channels that spread his speeches everywhere. His supporters did most of the work for him by resharing his messages. Since the movement had no clear structure, it was almost impossible for governments to shut down. Menendez understood that decentralized systems are extremely annoying for anyone trying to stop them. During this time, Menendez also studied how advanced military technology functioned. He paid close attention to automated drones, satellite systems, and digital command networks. He realized that modern nations had built their defenses on complicated technology that looked impressive, but could also collapse quickly if the right part failed. This gave him the idea that would define the next major event in the timeline. By combining public anger with knowledge of global military systems, Menendez prepared Cordis Die for something far more destructive than speeches and protests. He was ready to move from influence to impact, and he knew exactly where to strike. Menendez's 2025 cyber attack plan. By 2025, Menendez understood that modern countries relied heavily on automated drone systems. These drones handled surveillance, targeting, and even military strikes. They also depended on interconnected networks that looked strong on the outside but had weaknesses if you knew where to look. Menendez spent years studying these systems until he found exactly what he needed. He obtained a rare cyber device that allowed him to break into drone command networks. Once he was inside, he did not shut the drones down. That would have been too simple and not nearly as dramatic. Instead, he changed their targeting instructions so the drones would attack the nations that own them. This turned each country's advanced military technology into its own worst enemy. When the attack happened, governments had no idea how to respond. Drone fleets that were supposed to protect them suddenly began destroying their own cities. Citizens panicked, and trust in leadership collapsed almost instantly. Menendez's supporters in Cordis Die spread the footage online, making him look like someone exposing the failures of powerful governments rather than someone causing them. The attack worked exactly as Menendez intended. He did not need an army or a battlefield. All he needed was access to the systems everyone else relied on. It showed that in a world controlled by technology, disrupting the system can be more effective than fighting it. The capture or death of Menendez and its immediate impact. After the 2025 attacks, global pressure to stop Menendez reached its highest point. Governments finally coordinated properly, which is something they usually struggle with unless they are extremely scared. Special forces located Menendez, and depending on the operation's outcome, he was either captured alive or killed during the mission. Both outcomes lead to nearly the same results for the world. If Menendez was captured, he was treated as the most dangerous political and technological threat of the time. If he was killed, his supporters saw it as proof that powerful governments silence anyone who challenges them. Either way, Cordis Die did not collapse. The movement had been designed without a clear leader or headquarters, which made it impossible to shut down by targeting one person. The world also had to deal with the physical and political damage caused by the drone attacks. Cities were destroyed, economies were hurt, and relationships between nations weakened. Many citizens lost trust in their governments because the drones meant to protect them caused destruction instead. This gave Menendez's message even more strength, even though he was no longer part of the picture. Menendez's removal changed nothing about the problems he exposed. It only removed the person who pushed them into the spotlight. Menendez returns through hallucinations in 2035. In 2035, during the events of Black Ops 7, Menendez appears again, even though he is already dead. This happens because a deadly neurotoxin is released during an operation in Avalon. The toxin affects the neural implants inside soldiers, including David Mason and his team. The implants were supposed to enhance battlefield awareness, but instead they turn into the perfect tool for psychological turmoil. The neurotoxin causes vivid hallucinations that feel completely real. David begins seeing Menendez standing in front of him, speaking to him, and even blaming him for past events. The enemy group known as the Guild uses this to their advantage. They create fake broadcasts that copy Menendez's voice and image. These illusions are designed to break the team's focus by forcing them to relive old trauma. Mason is hit harder than anyone else because he has a direct childhood memory linked to Menendez. Seeing hallucinations of the man who told him he would suffer for life is not exactly helpful for staying calm in a crisis. The hallucinations show how deeply Menendez shaped David Mason's mind. Even though Menendez is gone, his influence works like a permanent scar. This final event proves that Menendez became more than a person. He became an idea that could be reused, manipulated, and weaponized long after his death. The Guild understood this and used his image to cause maximum psychological damage. Menendez's legacy continued because it was built into the fears of the people who faced him. Can't get enough of COD's darkest corners? Your next stops are every secret terrorist organization explained and the 7 levels of controversy.